Today our lesson is called Numerical Expressions. It's Glenco 6.2. We'll start with our definitions. A numerical expression is a combination of numbers and operations. The order of operations tells you which operation to perform so that everyone finds the same value for an expression. So back to the numerical expression. It's a mathematical phrase with only numbers and operation symbols. These operation symbols are very familiar: plus, minus, times, and divided by. Go ahead and add your bar in your divided by symbol. Here's some examples of numerical expressions. 8 plus 5 minus 2, 25 times 4 minus 9 squared times 13, 7 minus 6 times 12. In order to solve these types of numerical expressions correctly, we have to follow some rules known as the order of operations. There's a little phrase to help you remember the order of operations. It's "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." So we'll take the first letter in each part of our phrase so that we can remember the correct order of operations. Parentheses is for the P. Exponents is E. M and D will be multiply and divide. And it's whichever comes first. So just because the my comes before dear in our phrase doesn't mean that we'll do that in our actual operation. Either one, whichever comes first as we read it from left to right, we'll do first. And then the A and S, whichever comes first, is add and subtract. So let's practice finding the value of these expressions. So if I start with 4 plus 3 times 5, okay, well, I'll go to my order of operations and I'll see that multiplying comes before addition or subtraction. So that's what I have to do first. So let's do this little caret sign to show that we're going to do 3 times 5 is 15. Then we bring down everything that we did not use. I'm left with just one operation. 4 plus 15 will give me my final answer of 19. Okay, so now pause the video and try out these two problems on your own, and then I'll work them out with you. When we look at the order of operations, we see that we have an addition sign and a multiplication. Well, multiplication comes first, so that's where we'll start. 2 times 15 is 30. I'll bring down everything else that I didn't use. And now 10 plus 30 is all that's left. Will give me a final answer of 40. All right, now for this problem, I couldn't type my division symbol, so I did the slash to represent divided, but that's divided by. So I have 16 divided by 2 times 4. Okay, so back to my order of operations. I've got division and multiplication, and it was M or D, whichever comes first. Well, in this case, the division comes first, so that's what I'll start with. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and then I bring down everything else, and 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, we'll have more complicated expressions as well that involve parentheses and exponent use. All right, so these first two examples here, now that's a divided by, so we'll write that in. And I do have this parentheses down here. All right, so please stands for parentheses, so that's where I have to start. So notice I have parentheses, 9 minus 6. So 9 minus 6 equals 3, so that's where that 3 came from. And then I brought everything else down. Multiply 17, add 4, divided by, and a 20. All right, so now I look, I have a division, addition, and multiplication. All right, so I have to do my division next because multiply or divide, whichever comes first, left or right. So 20 divided by 4 will give me that 5. And then I can bring down everything else. Okay, so now at my next line, I see that I have addition and multiplication. And so now I'll do 17 times 3, and I'll get a 51. Okay, bring down everything else. All right, so finally I can add 51 plus 5 is 56 for my final answer. So this did take a little bit of time to rewrite every step and bring down, but that's going to be very important for you to write every single line and not try to take shortcuts, or you might end up making a mistake. All right, now on this example, 3 times 6 plus 4. All right, so I think this was supposed to be a 6 squared because I noticed that I have a 36 here. It must not have come out in my printout. All right, so 3 times 6 squared plus 4. So there's my exponent, which will need to come before multiplication or addition. So that's what we do first. 6 times 6 is 36. Now I bring down everything else I didn't use. All right, so I have multiplication and addition. Multiplication comes first. 3 times 36 is 108. So there's my 108 plus 4. And then I'll get a final answer of 112. All right, so now we're going to pause the video so that you can try it out. So on this one, I have a 2 cubed here, and that didn't come out with the printout either. So make sure you work 2 cubed. Okay, so on the first one, we look through the problem, multiply, parentheses, divide, and subtraction. So we start with our parentheses. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And now we'll bring down everything else. Okay, so multiply, divide, and subtract. So we'll start with this multiply. 25 times 3 is 75. Bring down everything else. All right, so now I'm left with a division and a subtraction. So 75 divided by 5 is 15. Subtract 12. So 15 minus 12 is a final answer of 3. All right, and then on this problem, so I have a parentheses and the exponent's inside the parentheses. Well, I know it says do parentheses first, but the exponent is inside the parentheses, so we'll do it first anyways. So we'll start there. 2 cubed is the same as saying 2 times 2 times 2. Please don't say 2 times 3 and give me 6 as your answer. Type 2 times 2 times 2 and you'll get 8. Bring everything else down. All right, we still have parentheses, so let's finish that parentheses. 8 plus 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, good. And we'll bring down everything else. And then 25 divided by 12 is not very good. Probably should have been 24. We're round to the nearest hundredth.